Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of the Highly Taken Podcast, episode 7. Happy Memorial Day. Shout out to all those vets, all the vets' families, those who have loved ones or who have served before. Shout out to you guys. Back here again from Tallahassee, Florida.
Back at you here, Christian Smith from Wilmington, Delaware.
Nick back here, Jacksonville Beach. Hey, let's get it, guys.
I didn't say my name is David, but yeah, my name is David. You know, I thought all of our 3 loyal fans would know my name is David, but I feel like if we get more people, I should probably let them know that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off here. First, we're gonna plug what we have on right now. We do have some new merch in the merch shop. Nicholas has a hat right now. I have a tank top. Oh, I just don't know if it's inverted or not. You can see it. We have stickers. We have a lot of things, so maybe Nick can put a link down in the description below to the shop, and if you want anything, go ahead and get you some. But first order of business today, we'll do our Dubs and Chugs punishment. As you may know, on Friday we picked 9 games and plus a tiebreaker. Person who has the worst record has to chug a drink. So Nick, what were the results on that?
Yeah, I will say it was pretty trash by someone here. Someone did really bad. I'm not going to put any names out there right now, but first place with 6 correct. David, you know,
I clean swept Saturday. I clean swept Saturday.
Did pretty good. You know, second place was Christian with 5. So
let's go.
Don't want to put any names out there, but some dumbass only had 2. Had a terrible time. I think me picking the A's from now on is just not happening. I think I'm done with.
Dude, they are like they're literally like historically one of the worst teams in baseball history right now.
They're like 10-35 right now.
I like to see the underdog win, and it's just not happening. I went against the Rays yet again. Didn't happen. I just need to start being smarter. So
sometimes they're the underdog for a reason, Nick. So
cheers to that. And then, David, I think there's something you wanted to bring up, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about something new in the baseball world. We don't really talk about baseball that much, but in AAA, they have been using robo umpires. Now, I know this is a big topic because people know sometimes umps are very lackadaisical with their calls. They're very inconsistent, and adding, an AI, an algorithm in there may actually help with the strike and ball calls. It's called the ABS, which is the automatic ball strike system. And that's what's being used. People have been joking that no one complains about the balls and strikes anymore because they have no one to complain about. They're not going to complain to an umpire because the umpire is a robot and you just kind of look stupid. I think my only issue, I feel like this takes away from the game. You don't get the arguments, the emotional side anymore. And another thing to talk about, which, I feel like is a bigger issue, is the umpires union. I don't think will allow for a full clean sweep of umpires getting their jobs taken over. My thing, I think they should do a challenge option instead. So instead of solely using robots, I think, a team should be allotted a certain amount of challenges per balls and strikes. Mm-hmm. So if they don't agree with the umpire, then you're like, okay, no, I'm challenging that ball strike call, and then they can use the ABS.
Yeah, no, I just don't know. We're kind of taken away from the sport a little bit here. I mean, yeah, I get what they're doing because there's some bad calls. We've seen it. But these umps, they do a pretty good job of what they do. The only thing is you're not going to see as many people get thrown out because, you don't have an ump back there that you're arguing with. But I think you can have a couple where you can challenge it, like you said, but they're trying to eliminate time per game. So I don't see them actually doing that, even though I agree when you have it's the bottom of the 9th inning, bases loaded and a 3-2 count, and it's an outside pitch and they call it a strike, costing the game. So I get things like that, but I don't know. It just kind of takes away from the game a little bit. It would be interesting to watch for sure.
What do you think there, Christian?
I think for me personally, and this might kind of come as a surprise right away, but I'm completely against that in total. I don't want any robotic umps because even though we have like Nick just said, you're in that 3-2 count in that bottom of the 9th, and what should be a ball in the outside corner is called a strike. All right, that sucks. You got the missed call. What about the team on the other side, right? that happens for us Philly fans. We're going crazy. We're like, hell yeah, that was the best call ever made. Fuck it, we're lit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. To me, yeah, while it sucks for one team, but it's also good for another team. And so I don't know. And it also gives like a lot of topic of conversation always. I mean, you can go back to the last Super Bowl, you go back to fucking any baseball game a week ago, there's always a bad call made somewhere. And it's just part of the game. Like we need to leave that as human error, right? But it's humans playing. So why would we? That's how it should stay, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just I completely agree with that. I'd be interested in the robo umpire version of Angel Hernandez. They just pull him out there and just start making bad calls just for no reason, but then start blaming like the umpire association, saying he doesn't get games because they're racist against robots.
Oh, that would be pretty interesting to see. So we'll get into it. We're gonna go over the SEC football rankings, East and West side. See what we have on there. Christian, like we always do, we'll start with you on that top 5 on each side.
So starting off in the SEC East, at the number 1 spot, I have Georgia. I mean, we're talking about a 2-time defending champ here, coming off of a perfect season. They had the 2nd ranked overall recruiting class this year. Now I get it, they lost people like Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Broderick Jones in the 1st round of the draft. All 3 guys are expected to be guys you just plug in and play. 2 very dominant parts of the defense, but I mean, Georgia's just had good recruiting classes for the past couple of years. And I think they'll be able to continue to go on with that. I think with what they brought in this year and what they brought in for the past years and what Kirby Smart's building over there, I think they're going to be totally fine. They're going to continue to probably be the big dog in the SEC, even with Alabama still being in there, in my opinion. They're still the team to beat, and that has not changed. Following in, though, at number 2, and this is where I kind of got lackadaisical on my notes, I have Tennessee. Yes, I know they just lost their quarterback and hooker, but I just feel like they're going to be able to follow it up. They're going to have a good season coming around here. Number 3, it's a little biased, I know, but give me my Gators, baby. UF, let's go. We're pulling through here. I don't know who's running at quarterback for us now that the greatest QB to ever come through Florida is out the door and on his way. But I think we're going to come back strong. I don't think we're going to make any close to a bid for a playoff spot. But I'm thinking, like I said, finish in the top 25 poll here. Number 4, I have Kentucky. I believe they finished last year as the 3rd team in the division. So once again, I have them coming back. I should say. I said once again, that's funny. I have them dropping down a spot, I should say, coming in at number 4 this year. And then to finish it off at number 5, I have South Carolina. South Carolina is my number 5 team. That's where I'm liking them. Getting a lot of looks like I missed on something. So somebody fill me in here.
Well, no, it's just you were talking perfectly fine, but your video was like skipping the entire. I think it's fine. I think it's whatever.
You're fine. No big deal. So we'll stay with the East for right now. David, what do you got going on over there?
Yeah, so because Christian's a psychopath and likes to start at 1, I'm going to start at 5. At number 5, we're going to have Florida. Now they had some decent recruiting gains this year. They had the 12th overall. Class this year. Not too bad. They got Kelby Collins and Cameron James at defensive lines are pretty solid. They added Jakeem Jackson at corner and Aiden Mazzell at wide receiver. I think the big thing here is going to be the quarterback. They lost Richardson. While Richardson was not a great passer of the ball, he was still a good fit for the system that we're running Richardson in last year. I think that's what's going to end up holding them back this year. And I honestly don't know about coaching this year. I think that'll be interesting how UF and their coach is going to do. Next, number 4th in the East, I have South Carolina. They have the 17th best ranked recruiting class this year in the nation. They had statement wins versus Tennessee and Clemson last year, and they have Spencer Rattler coming back. Now they held their own against Georgia last year too, and with the addition of Desmond Emiozulu, Xavier McLeod, and Grayson Howard on defense, as well as even Lenora Sellers at QB. So when Rattler does leave, they could be set for the future. But for right now, I think they're a solid, 4th team. Maybe they can bump up to 3, depending on how the number 3 team I have does. And at number 3, I have Kentucky. I have the Big Blue. It'll be interesting to see how their offense does without Will Levis again. Just like Florida, they lost their big quarterback. Now replacing him, they end up getting, I think, Devin Leary from North Carolina State. And with the transfer years, it's going to be very interesting to see how teams replace people, almost like it's free agency now. But they had a weaker recruiting class. They were 29th overall. They have a signed letter of intent from Shamar Porter, who's a good name to possibly look out for in their offense. Number 2, I have Tennessee. Now Tennessee is losing a lot with their number 1 ranked offense that they had last year. Hooker's gone, Jalen Hyatt's gone. However, they did have the 11th ranked recruiting class, and with that recruiting class, they got Nico Lamaliava, who was the national ranked 3rd best player and 2nd best quarterback.
Okay.
They also got Nathan Leacock at wide receiver, who they recruited, and they even have Ethan Davis, who's a solid 4-star tight end that they recruited. At number 1, I'm going to have Georgia. Not only do the back-to-back champs have a cakewalk schedule, now they play the first 5 of their 6 games at home, and the first 4 games are at home. They play Tennessee Martin, they play Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, and Auburn. I mean, outside of that, they really don't. I mean, they play Kentucky and Florida, but outside of that, they don't really play anybody until November 18th when they play Tennessee at Tennessee. Right. So I think that's going to be the game there to look out for. They got good transfers too. They got Lovett from Missouri, and they got Thomas from Mississippi State, and they had the 2nd best recruiting class in the nation. They got Damon Wilson, they got Raylan Wilson, they got Aguero, they got Jordan Hall, all 5-star recruits on their defense. That's making just look dangerous. I won't even go down the line of their good 4-stars that they got, because they have like 20 of them, and I feel like I'll be just wasting time keeping going over all those 4-stars. But that's why I have running the East this year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're all pretty close, and like you said, I don't know why Christian's psychotic and starting 1 at first, but I'll go through it. I have Kentucky at 6-6, at that 5 spot. I just they look pretty good. The recruiting's coming along. Being 31st isn't anything spectacular, but they have a lot of players coming back. Then I have Florida at the 4th spot, going 7-5. Now I think they'll have a decent season. That could be a little better than what I am predicting, but they don't know what the quarterback is the issue there right now. As of right now, it looks like Jack Anders is going to be the starting quarterback. He looks like a pocket passer, but does he have the weapons that he needs to get it done there?
Right.
I will say though, my boy, all 450 pounds of him, Desmond Watson, I can't wait to see him on that defensive line this year. I mean, from what I can understand, they have him on a regimen. I would love to see that guy go off. I mean, that dude, an absolute.
That dude's huge.
So
he is a unit.
Yeah. So then at that 3rd spot, let's go Cox. I got the Gamecocks there. Spencer Rattler getting his 2nd year under his belt as the quarterback. He started looking pretty good at the end of the year last year for them. Didn't really lose a lot on defense. They have a lot of returning players coming there. I'd be interested to see what they look like. Then buckle up at number 2. I have Georgia. 11-1. Like you said, cakewalk schedule going into it, really not a lot going in until you get Tennessee. Tennessee is going to be their loss. They're losing to Tennessee. I think Tennessee finally gets it. So yeah, I got Georgia sitting there, with the quarterback. Carson Beck, he looks like he's going to be a good starter there. We'll see what he does. I think he's going to have a couple kinks he needs to work out, but with the cakewalk schedule, like David said, the first part, I think that's going to help them. But then I got Tennessee in the top of that division, possibly winning it all in the championship at 11-1. Like I said, the only reason they get there is because they beat Georgia. I think Tennessee, I believe they're playing Alabama. I think they're going to lose to Alabama. But I mean, man, that team's looking really good.
Yeah,
I would be interested to see if I think Milton gets to start, the guy that can throw an absolute bomb down the field. I don't think
Mhm.
he's listed as number one right now, but I think he'll end up getting that start because all the publicity he has going on. But this is the Volunteers' time. They better take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So with
I mean,
that,
I can see that. I can see them coming, sneaking themselves into the top spot and coming past Georgia. I think it's going to be close for those two this year in
yeah,
the SEC East.
I'll be very interested watching those first couple Tennessee games, whether or not they have like this melt at a unit, like losing all that
Yeah.
offensive talent that they had.
right.
So
Yeah.
in those easy tune-up games at the beginning of the year should help them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's gonna bring us over to the West. Christian, what do you got going on there?
All right. So over in the West, I mean, I feel like, well, you guys actually, you know what? I'm the psycho. I start from 1, so I'll just run it back. I'll go from 5. My fault, guys. But again, not a lot of notes here. So coming in at 5, I have Mississippi State. I think we're going to see a mediocre season out of them. I think they have enough firepower to probably come through with a decent offense, but I mean, I think this division is only going to get harder and harder the farther you go up. I think they finish at 5 on the year. Coming in at 4, and this is a jump for them because I believe they finished in 6th last year. I have Auburn. I think they may also make a powerful push. I don't know. I've always been kind of a little Auburn fan at heart, so I had to throw them up there on my list. A little bit, just a tad bit. Only because I liked when Cam Newton was there, like your brother Tyler, Nick.
Man crush.
Yeah, man crush. Number 3, give me Ole Miss. I think we're going to see a lot of firepower from them in their offense. I think, honestly, they'll come through with probably a top 10 offense this year in all of college football, just because they always tend to produce decent playmakers, good weapons, and just always have an explosive offense. Number 2, I have LSU. Once again, just another – they had a pretty good season coming off of last year, and I think they have another decent season coming in this year. But let's be honest, the people that run this division on the west side is Alabama coming in at number 1. And I mean, I guess you could call it an off year last year, finishing number 2 in the standings after LSU finished number 1. And even with the number 1 pick being Bryce Young, and he's now gone out of that offense, I still think you're going to continue to see a legendary team led by Nick Saban. As much as I hate Nick Saban personally, I think he'll still be able to pull that team together. I mean, this guy's had top recruiting classes for almost every year that he's been there. He's always got the players in the right position. I mean, and I'm sitting here talking about a 2-loss year as a down year for them. You know what I mean? Like, I think Alabama is going to come through, and once again, just like Georgia, they're going to be the powerhouse of the SEC West.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like this has been it's kind of stacked when it comes to coaches, big name coaches, and this specifically this side of the division. So
Yeah.
you have Mississippi State, and that's gonna be hard. They're replacing Coach Mike this year. It's gonna be really hard to do that. But they have Will Rogers coming back. Now they only have the 36 overall best recruiting class this year. They didn't get that many 4-stars, but notably they got Isaac Smith at safety, and then they have Creed Winmore, who's an athlete. Other than that, they didn't get that many high name recruiting. But I just feel like you're picking the top 5 in half a division. That's how it's going to be. Next is going to be Ole Miss again. You have a good name. You have Lane Kiffin who's running that team. Now they got they have Quinton Judkins coming back, who's a great running back. But they're going to have a QB battle between Jackson Dart and then Spencer Sanders this year. They signed 5-star linebacker Perkins. They'll be big on defense, but other than that, I mean, when you compare them to the other 3 teams I have in here, it's going to take a lot more than that. I have at number 3 Texas A&M. They had a very, very disappointing 2022 season. Coached by Jimbo I Hate Christmas Fisher, and they hope to jump back after that. They had the 10th best overall recruiting class. You got 5-star running back Ruben Owens and 5-star defensive lineman David Hex. I think they'll do better than they did last year, but I think what we need to see is Jimbo Fisher is on the hot seat this year, so he will have to come out and compete, or else he'll be run out as well. At number 2, you have LSU. Brian Kelly gets a lot of his talent back last year. Now, earlier on in the season, last year, they started off pretty slow. They lost to my alma mater, FSU, that first game of the season, a blocked PAT. I went crazy. That was awesome. I don't like Brian Kelly that much, but that's more because of what he did to Cincinnati and Notre Dame leaving wise. But they have Harold Perkins and they have Mason Smith, and they also have Daniels, who are coming back this year. They have the 6th best overall recruiting class with the 3rd best transfer rank this season. A lot of people saw what they were doing last year and they're like, hey, look, that Brian Kelly, that team, they're getting hot at the right time. I want to go there. They have an amazing offensive lineman. They got Zaylen Hurd and a good playmaker with Jalen Brown at wide receiver. And they also have Womack at the edge now. So it's going to be interesting with this young talent. Now, I want to say as well, us saying how much young talent they're getting recruiting wise doesn't really mean anything because they still have to prove themselves. They're just high school rankings. I've seen players come out with like 5
they're all
stars
young
and have been awful. And then you have people like JJY, who's a 2-star, who comes out and ends up being
Antonio
a Hall of Famer.
Brown.
Yeah. But number one, I think we're all thinking the same thing too. Although I think LSU can make a run for their money. I think it's going to be Alabama this year. Like every year, Alabama comes in with the best class in the nation, grabbing 12 5-stars in the recruiting class, which includes the best safety in Caleb Downs, the best offensive tackle in Proctor. They add Malik Benson, who's the 2nd best running back in the nation, and then also Justin Haynes. And quarterback-wise, they actually got the old Notre Dame quarterback to transfer over, Tyler Buckner. So that'll be interesting to see who can replace Young. I don't know who they may have recruited wise as a young person, but having that transfer over kind of veteran there who knows how to, run with a top power program, it'll be interesting to see what Nick Saban can do. And the mind of Nick Saban is crazy. Like Christian was saying, you have 2 losses in a year and that's a down year for you. That's absolutely insane.
Right.
So I think when it comes down to it in the whole division, I think it's going to be a 3-headed battle. It's going to be LSU, Alabama, Georgia. I think 2 of these teams will actually end up making it into the college football playoff. Who I think will win the SEC title game. I think Georgia may win that, but I think Bama is going to end up in the college football playoff, and I don't think they would lose to Georgia a second time. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens down the stretch there at the end of the season when they are playing their heavy scheduler games. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the West is more stacked this year than the East is. Top to bottom, they have a lot of teams in that conference. I mean, you're looking, Arkansas might be the worst one over there right now, and that's kind of crazy when they had a decent year last year. But coming in the 5th spot for me, I got Mississippi State. I just think they look like they're a team that's going to go out there and cause havoc on any team out there, any top team, even in the SEC. If they were in another division or conference, they probably would be a top tier team. Then I have the Aggies at 8-4 going in 4th place there. They had a down year last year. I just think they don't always stay down. They normally pick it up. I think they might have a decent year. 8-4 is not crazy, but it's better than what they did last year. Then can't wait to see it. I'm with Christian on this. I have Auburn at 9-3. They have 8 seniors starting on that defense this year. So if there were a time for them to go out there and ball out, this is it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Peyton Thorne can do over there. Maybe you see something great out of him. Heisman Trophy, who knows? Then LSU, I got them at 10-2 there in that 2nd spot. I mean, I think Brian Kelly coming in his first year there, we all thought at first they were going to be a joke. I mean, they lost to FSU. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It wasn't like FSU was a top 15 team in the year.
But they looked great last year, and I'm interested to see what he can do in his 2nd year over in LSU. I think they're going to give Alabama a run for their money, but I mean, it's Alabama. 11-1. I think they're going to have 1 loss all year. You can't argue with
my question. Sorry, not to interrupt you. Who did they get that loss to? You think, like regular season wise?
I have them losing to LSU.
Okay.
I think, you're going to get back to those years where we used to watch it as kids, where LSU and Alabama were going at it all the time to get that conference championship. So I think they get it. I don't think Auburn's going to beat them. I think it's going to be a great year or a great game like it always is. But I think LSU takes that one. But I mean, yeah, it's Nick Saban. What I like more than anything, you can't argue with a guy when his name is Kool-Aid. I mean, the dude is an absolute beast. He's actually a really good ball player over there. I look for him to make a huge step. Like you said, Caleb Downs. I mean, he's going to be a beast. And then Jalen Milroe. I mean, it looks like as a sophomore he's going to be starting. Looks like he looks pretty good, but Nick Saban can make any quarterback look decent with that team. So it's really, yeah, off year, 2 losses, but yeah, I think Alabama takes that title for sure. But we'll see.
Yeah, so I think that brings us into the actually we'll go with Nick's punishment. Nick he decided he's going to make his bet this year. Nick, you want to remind everybody what your bet was?
Yeah, my bet was that Jimmy Butler would have 37 or more points, and I think that failed miserably.
How many points did he have, Nick, the game after?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. He had 11 points going into the fourth quarter. So I think he finished with 18 is what he
I think he
finished.
finished with 16.
Oh, well, okay. Either way, that's not even half of what I said. Really, really not looking forward to this, guys.
Yeah, so we're gonna make him just take a little drink here. He's not feeling too well, so we're nice here. We're very respective of people under when they're under the weather. So we're give him a little shot of some over the counter cough syrup.
Yeah,
Oh no,
yeah.
Nick, you weren't too far off. You had 24.
Oh, that's far enough not to get it
Not
done.
37.
Yeah, 13 off, but
Good boys.
Cheers,
While he's doing that, I think we can get set up for the NHL playoffs. It's going to be a lot shorter than a 3-minute minor. There's not much to talk about. That's differently since then. So Stars and Golden Knights, the series is now 3-2. Dallas won Game 5 in a decent fashion. When I say decent, they finally
right?
Yeah, they won by 4-2. So they finally won by more than one goal, which is good for them. They were down 3-0, so now it's 3-2. It's going to be interesting. I thought the series is going to be done pretty quick. But now it's starting to kind of mirror the Boston Celtics and the Heat series a little bit, so we can see it there. I don't think that the Knights will let that happen. I'll keep saying, my hockey takes are second to none. You saw me the whole Carolina versus the Panthers. That's kind of weird to say, the Carolina versus the Panthers hockey series that they had.
Happens.
But I think that the Vegas Knights will get this done. I don't think it'll go to 7. I think they'll end up getting it done and then make it to the Cup Finals versus the Panthers.
Yeah, I think so. This is their 4th year.
It's like 4th or 5th year, yeah.
And they've gone to the Cup 2 times.
If they were to make it, it would have been the second time.
So that's kind of crazy as an expansion team.
Yeah.
They won the Cup their first year, right?
They lost. They lost. But in their inaugural year, they ended up going to the Cup, which is crazy.
I mean, when you're taking the 5th best player on every team, you're kind of making a stacked team. So I don't think they did that this past time with the Kraken, did they? I think they
have to. I think you have to have an expansion draft if you get a new team.
Yeah,
I think that's what the rules are.
I know it's an expansion draft. Again, hockey knowledge is still a little subpar on that, but I mean, I don't know. I just like those Knights, man. I really do. Yeah. I would love to see Florida get it just for Koepka. But I don't know.
for the golfer.
Yeah.
For the golfer, see Florida get it for a golfer.
That's it.
So that's going to lead us into the NBA playoffs. This is getting crazy to me. You have Celtics Heat series is now tied 3-3. I want to get Christian's thought on this. He was on the Jimmy Butler train.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I'm even sitting here right now and I'm watching the game in front of me. As you can see, my attention directed up. And I think the biggest thing I'm seeing here is as I'm watching this game, and as it's been for the past 2 games, is I feel like Miami just got so confident and comfortable with a 3-0 lead that they're not playing with much aggression. They're kind of And I'm looking at it too, man. They're taking some pretty lousy, crappy shots. They're not choosing their best shot decisions. They're getting lazy. I think they just had it in their head, man. Like, yeah, there's no worry. There's no worry. You lose one game, all right, we got time. Don't worry about it. You lose another, all right, you're still up. You still got, you know what I mean? You still got 2 more to give. It's okay. Series is tied, man. This is not how this should have gone. Miami should have had this game done in 4. Even last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago, when they lost the game on the tip-in, I mean, you have to cover White all the way through the basket there. You can't let him run that wide open. That wide open, I mean, if there was a second left on the clock, he was dunking that in and yamming it in every Miami Heat player's face for that much more pain to the insult. Like, you just have to play better defense. You have to be more aggressive. Boston's going to be able to hit their shots. You have to start taking good shots and hit the shots with them. I know you don't have. You're missing Tyler Hero right now, and that's you're probably your biggest 3-point guy. But you got to figure it out. You got to make it happen. You've come this far. You can't give up. I mean, you got to create better shots. You got to create more separation, and you got to get Jimmy going. Jimmy has not been going the last couple of games, and that is, I think, the biggest thing. He has not been who we saw him be for the start of this playoffs and through the first 3 games of this series. And that's huge for Miami because I feel as Miami feeds off of exactly what Jimmy does. I will say right now it's a 9-6 game with 5:30 left to play. There's like no scoring going on.
Yeah, and I think that's what I mean. It's kind of been these past couple of games a defensive battle. Just the past couple of games. I like you said, that's fundamental basketball. You box out. I mean, every time a shot goes up, you're always taught where's the guy, where's the closest guy,
find a body,
box him out.
Yep.
I mean, we were all taught that's literally like one of the first things you get taught playing basketball. I just,
Himmy.
The thing that I like, it's been a great series. And I think I agree. They got too comfortable.
The script writers are very happy right now.
Yeah, they were going hard this year.
If the Celtics pull it out, this will be the first time in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the final, like any side of the finals that's ever happened, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's great, and they can get it done in Boston, which is crazy. I mean, we all said from day one, Miami is just talent-wise outmatched, but Miami outcoaches. I mean, that's just what they've been doing this entire series. But I just don't know. I think Tatum has another night where he probably puts up 40 points tonight and gets it done. And again, they still, for some reason, are letting Marcus Smart score. That's like where did he come from? He's a defense.
That's a guy you got to keep at 13, 15 points a game. You can't have him exploding for more than
that. Normally he doesn't get any more than that, but apparently he does in this series, which is the difference there.
Yeah, and like I said, Boston has made it a 1-game series now. They said don't let them win one, but now it's the best of 1. You have to win this or you're going home.
It's win or go home now.
This is
3 balls from. Let's go.
This is gonna be one of those. Last game was one of those rare occasions in the series where winning the 3-point battle didn't matter that much. Butler did his thing, but everybody else in the Heat didn't really do much. There wasn't that much of a difference maker. The person I've been saying needs to be the difference maker every night was been Bam, having that big man play. And Bam in the past 3 games hasn't been doing what he needs to be doing. Like, he has the advantage there in the size against an older Horford. He had 11 points on 16 shots. Marcus Smart, Nick said he isn't having another 20-point game. He had 21. And you need to keep him at bay because not only is he feeding off, getting those points, he's helping there, but then he is one of those players who's very emotional and he'll start being more of a mental threat to the other team too. So you need to keep him at bay. Tatum had another 31.
Boom.
The thing is, this Boston team isn't coached by Doc Rivers.
Nope.
So I think Boston is going to do it. I think Tatum goes off for 45. I think Brown helps out with 30. I think Jimmy will have his, but I don't think there will be enough other than Jimmy for that. And I think Boston makes the best comeback in NBA history.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just tell you right now. Oh, my fault. Go ahead, Nick.
I do want to apologize for Christian's ADHD. He has to do a couple things at the same time to be able to concentrate. So anything you see from him, just take it with a grain of salt.
Can Oh, hold on, real quick.
Give us a
Before we
little,
hop off the, oh, go ahead.
yeah, give us a little live action there. You're watching the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, Miami's up 16-11 now. Very clutch three by Strauss to take the lead originally, and then a nice little bucket there by Butler to go ahead and put them up by 5 now.
Jimmy
But I do
Butler.
have a question. Do have a question for you guys, and I almost feel this is intriguing now with the way we've seen this Eastern Conference fall out. With a 3-0 start with Miami, and then now it coming back with a 3-3. Do we believe either of these teams match up with Denver?
Yeah, see, that's where it's hard to say because one, you have a Boston team who is going to be if they win, they're winning 4
Mm-hmm.
games in a row. Like that's
Yeah, they're high. Yeah, that's
they
high.
backwards swept. I just feel like again it's going to come down to big man play. Yeah, Bam Adebayo, who has been very spotty in the series, you're not going to get that from Jokic. You're not going to get
No,
that from the
right.
2-time MVP, and I think that's where they are right there. Who do you have on that team that's going to guard him? Horford.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think Horford's
Not going
too
to
old.
happen.
I think that's where I
Marcus
think it's going
Smart's
to
too
go.
small.
Here's
Yeah.
here's what I will say. They're taking a week off, and I think this week off, if
Yeah.
anything, is going to hurt the Nuggets.
Yeah.
You know, these two teams fighting it out, battling it out right now. Yeah, they're going to be exhausted, but I mean, they also are going in with some upside and a high, so they could run it over and beat Denver. But honestly, Denver, the way I saw their guard play in this last series against the Lakers,
Yeah.
I mean, do you have an answer for Murray? I don't
No.
know.
Yeah, I'm saying like
if he has that series again, you just Jokic is gonna do what Jokic does. He's gonna get a
Right.
double like he
He's
always
Jokic.
does. But that's their team. But apparently Murray is coming out there. If he goes out there and averages even 24 points a game, Nuggets are taking it.
Yeah.
I think we'll add here is little breaking news from today. The Sixers have finally hired their coach. They went from
Yes,
a doc
sir.
to a nurse. Now they hired Nick
Love
Nurse. Now that's the coach I wanted them to hire.
Yeah.
I think that's who you wanted them to hire too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
I
think
was
he
on
could
board
be
with that.
he can be a great fit. Has deep postseason experience with teams that don't have that great of talent. I mean, you had Kawhi, but like outside of Kawhi, you had Lowry and then Van Fleet. That was your guys. So like,
And they always, you know, they were a competing team within there.
Yeah.
And I like it, like you said, you know, it sounds like it's a downgrade going from a doctor to a nurse, you know, in that medical field. But in this profession, I think he's a better coach. I think the players are going to play. The only issue is what's the team going to look like next year?
Yeah.
Harden probably won't be there next year.
That's going to be the interesting part. Like, who's going to be coming back? Who's he going to be coaching? And I hope, I hope it's going to be well. Just being a Philly fan, but we just really don't know. Money talks, and Harden could be getting his. I don't think Embiid's in the trade block. I think they already came out and said Embiid's definitely not on the trade block.
You can't get rid of Embiid. That's your heart and soul of the team.
He's the process.
I think, yeah, absolutely is. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see them, like we talked about before, go after a star like Lillard. But the only thing is, you bring Lillard in there, what's Maxi's role going to be anymore? Lillard's your point.
Spot up, I guess.
But like what David said too, if you can go out there and get a Klay Thompson, I mean, that's what you were missing was a spot up shooter, you know, someone that can really kill you at the perimeter. I don't know though. I don't if unless they can do something to change my mind, I think they get to the second round of the playoffs, but as of right now, they're not a competing team.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think that's gonna bring us in. Oh, you have any more to add to that, Christian?
No, I think that's all. Y'all will just catch some live updates from me through the game.
All right, so that's going to bring us into our highs and lows of the week. We have our certified baller and our deflated baller. Obviously, Christian. Oh, yep, flash that merch there. Have the certified baller t-shirts out. Check the URL, check the description for that. But Christian, who did you have as your certified baller this week?
Give me 1 second, guys.
That's all he needs.
I'm looking at something. No.
Tune in that Jeopardy music real quick while we're waiting.
Yeah, non-copyrighted Jeopardy music. It's enough. It's enough. We're gonna copyright it.
Yeah, right. No, hold on.
Christian's deflated baller is going to be his internet this week. I hooked up my Ethernet cable all the way to the closest Arby's.
Jesus. Leave me alone,
He's
boss.
got that McDonald's Wi-Fi
Yeah, dude.
going on right now.
Nah. So this week, and this guy, he's already been our certified baller. But again, it's big moments. You got to come and you got to shine. This week, our certified baller once again is going to be Jason Tatum, coming off of 31 points in Game 6, 5 assists, 12 rebounds. I mean, the guy has been playing out of his mind, especially after and it's crazy because now within what 3-4 times we had this segment, he's a 2-time certified baller and a 1-time deflated baller. So it's kind of weird to see it all happen this way, but yeah, I mean, you can't argue he's the heart and soul of this Celtics team. I mean, this team is in the process of pushing for the first ever 3-0 comeback in the history of the NBA playoffs. I just feel like you can't argue with it, but he's got to stop being so streaky. I mean, you got to
Just like your
decide.
underpants.
Right? Yep, just like my underpants. You got to stop being so streaky. You got to decide: are you here to play, or are you here to do nothing? I mean, you gotta turn it on all the time. But even still, with that being said, in the biggest moments he's faced so far this season, even including that big Game 7 versus Philly, he came out, he shined, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Jason Tatum, you are my certified baller of the week.
You know, you guys need to stop this high school relationship you got going on with Jason Tatum, the ups and downs, man. I mean, you hate him, you love him. Which is it? So that's going to get us to our deflated baller. I'll start this one off. My deflated baller of the week is the Arizona Cardinals. I mean,
No way. No way.
Huh.
Yeah, you're kidding me.
you can't argue. I mean, they lost D-Hop. I mean, they just let him go. They ate it. They just let him go. Next on the table is Buda Baker. I mean, he doesn't want to be there. Now D-Hop's out. He's out. He's done for. They're gonna get rid of him. They're gonna trade him somewhere. What are they doing there? What are they doing there? They're being
I don't think they
stupid.
know. I don't think they know what they're doing.
They brought in a new coach and they just look stupid. I mean, they had a huge thing of a jersey release and they looked absolutely dumb. So dumb. I just that organization is just absolutely playing itself. And I'm really looking forward to my plane ticket up north and going to a Phillies game now.
Yeah, and so I'll go off. First of all, I want to do a little not going to take away from the certified baller, but a little shout out here, a little mini certified baller here. Shout out to Jackie Young from the Las Vegas Aces. I went to school with her in Princeton, Indiana. Shout out to 812. She started off the season averaging 23 points and adding 2.3 steals this year. She has 62% from the field and 57 from 3 to start the year. She is a former #1 overall pick and gold medal Olympian. So shout out to her. Way to start out the year this so far.
At this point, who doesn't David know? I mean, it seems like he knows all these different people.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, well, Nick, it seems like you can't get your Wi-Fi to settle down and bring you into fucking straight connection, dude.
I just know a lot of people. It's I got a lot of hook. No, I don't really got a hook up. So I was like, hey, you remember me? They
when you work when you work in the field that David works in, you get passed around a lot like he does. You meet a lot of people.
Okay.
When you're working that corner, it really
that's what I'm saying. You meet a lot of couple people.
When I say I work the hot corner, it's not third base.
Ooh.
I'm going all the way to home. No, for the deflated baller for me is the Arizona Cardinals organization. That's why I was so shocked when you said that, bro. They have had all the talents and have nothing to show for it in the past 3 years. 3 years ago, they started 10-5 and didn't even make the playoffs. They have not made the playoffs at all with that team they have. You know, they have an overpaid quarterback who likes to prioritize video games over his profession. Yeah. You know, made such a fuss over them putting the watch film clause in his contract, and they pulled it out. But you see what it's done. They have great offensive talent, or at least they had great offensive talent. But they have no leadership within the organization. They pushed away one of the most elite and talented wide receivers in the league due to lack of responsibility and leadership. And the thing is, like, they wasted J.J. Watts last season. They've gotten rid of so many coaches already. They hired the coach they had a couple seasons ago. They got Josh Rosen after one season, got rid of him, got Kingsbury, and like, okay, we'll bring in Murray. And it's just been a failed project since then. They screwed themselves over. and their fans over with how incompetent they are, and that's why they are my deflated ballers.
Love it. Love it. Same page.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are on the same page here. Honestly, the Cardinals are definitely a very, very good one to go with. I mean, yeah, like you guys just touched base on, they're practically destroying the team, completely ripping it apart. Like David said, you brought in Murray after a 10-6 season. You have nothing to show for it. I mean, it's just going completely downhill. So I'd like to take there as your guys' deflated ballers for the week, but our certified deflated baller, I guess we would go with here. You know, our legitimate deflated baller. And we already touched base on this a little bit, and I hate to keep running back to the NBA, but it's the biggest stage right now. Max Strus, you have to box out on that final play of the game. There is no question. And for that alone, you are my deflated baller of the week. I mean, we have been taught this since we, just started in Pee Wee ball, first came in. I mean, the first thing you're taught is to box out the guy. Whether you can shoot the ball like Curry or you shoot like Shaq, the first thing you're taught is to go and box out a guy. When that ball is up in the air, you need to be on a body, box him out. Don't let him in front of you. And in the biggest game of the year this far, you just sit there and watch that ball in amazement, hoping it just doesn't fall in, not having a care in the world about anybody else around you. And here comes White right up and over you to just tap that ball back in, and he sends this to a game 7. Just when you thought you had it all done and figured out, you let everything go while that ball was in the air. You have to stay focused. You have to realize there's time on that clock. You have to realize there's a game going on. That ball is not always going to fall and expire on that clock. And because of that, because you didn't have that heads-up play in the biggest game of this season thus far, you are my deflated baller, Max Strus.
That's a great one. You teach that from day one. You're getting paid millions of dollars. All you gotta do is put a body on the guy. That's the difference between you being in the finals right now and then you fighting for your life. And we all know what Nick is thinking right now. How is this going to prove that Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James?
I would like to say real quick, guys. I know we touched on this a little earlier, talking about the 3-point battle. Boston is 5 of their last 40 3-point shots taken throughout the past 40. Last game and this game, they're 5 of 40.
Yeah, I mean,
like I said, as long as Jimmy Butler.
I like that deflated baller pick. Okay. Well, we all know who's paying attention to right now. You know, you're taught that in Y ball. I mean, it's such a fundamental element of the game. I mean, you're taught passing, shooting, and rebounding. I mean, those are that's it.
Yep.
I mean, I love the pick.
It's just amazing to me. I mean, not to go too far in a rant of how fundamental basketballs are. You know, I guess it's a different level of play once you get to the NBA, but it feels like sometimes those like small little fundamentals like aren't there anymore. You don't see a lot of people boxing out. You know, you don't see a lot of people closing out. You don't see a lot of people making their free throws, like something that should be super easy. Like you have these multi-million-dollar players who go 50% from the free throw line, like small little things. People who aren't willing to change their game, like Ben Simmons, who just can't work on a jump shot. And it's like, obviously I'm an armchair GM. I'm gonna get paid nothing to do so. I'm no Howie, I'm no Hinkie, I'm no anybody, but like it just amazes me how like sometimes when that money gets bigger, sometimes like just the small little fundamentals fall the crack, and then they come back to bite you in the biggest of times. It's a shame.
Yeah. My honorable mention real quick for the week 2 boys for the certified baller. Derek White, way to be alert, way to get up there, way to grab that board, way to put it in, send your team.
You crashed the board.
Yeah, he crashed it. So that's gonna get us into our last segment, our hot take of the week.
Yeah. So my hot take of the week, boys, I'm just gonna come out. Ready to do it. Coming out with a lot of firepower here, but Phillies are gonna go 6-0 through the rest of the week. They're gonna get the sweep on both the Mets. Yeah, they're gonna get the sweep on the Mets. I'm looking at my roommate on that one, and they're gonna get the sweep on the Nationals. I will be in attendance at the game in New York on Wednesday, so we will see how that all goes down. I think Nola is projected pitcher for that game that I'm gonna be at, but 6-0 right through the week, baby, Phillies.
Oof, that is hot.
I have I feel like an even hotter take here. I think the Cincinnati Reds will end up in the first place in the NL Central by the end of the week. They're only 4 games back of the Brewers in the division. The Reds play the Red Sox to start off the week, and they end with a 4-game series against Milwaukee in Cincinnati. And then Milwaukee starts the week off by playing the Blue Jays. So that's going to be a tough one for them now. And they play in Toronto. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Cincinnati Reds can have a good week this week. If they win 4 games against the Brewers at the end of the week, that's 4 games they picked up. So I think the Reds may be I think they will be in first place by the end of the week.
That is a hot take right there. I mean, it's not far fetched though. I mean, it's possible for that to happen. I'm gonna keep it in the same
Ballpark.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna
Nice.
keep it in the same sport, and I'm going with you'll see an MLB team put up at 15 runs this week. Someone's gonna go out for a 15 run. Notable matchups. I'm looking at Rangers playing the Mariners. Mariners, their pitching hasn't been crazy, but it's the Rangers. Dodgers are playing the Nationals. I mean, the Nationals are just hot garbage right now. Then Philly's playing the Nationals over the weekend.
Yep.
With that lineup, anything can happen. And then Padres playing the Marlins and Cubs this week. So I think we're gonna see.
I will put you out there. I will say that if it does happen.
If it does happen.
Sorry, you were lagging. That's why. I think will end up happening. I think it may happen. I think that's a good one. I think if it does happen, the Braves with that giant lineup are playing the Athletics this week. I think that's where we may see it.
Yeah.
I did see that too. But you know what? The Braves average hasn't been anything crazy this year. Honestly, I mean, their pitching's normally is the one that's getting it done over there.
Marcus Smart would have missed 3.
I was just going off of
somebody find Strauss in the corner.
Big bat teams. Hey, ADHD boy, come back to earth, please.
I'm right here. Find Strauss behind you. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Parlay's going on crazy right now. I'm here.
How did your parlay do this past? How was your Goldilocks this past?
Yeah, how did Goldilocks do this past week? Were we above 75%?
I don't know. There was only a 3-game parlay, and I know I took Miami on the money line for one of them. So that automatically makes it at least 66% if I was correct on the other baseball games. So no.
I don't know. Maybe we need to change the name again. I don't know. Maybe
another name change.
Yeah, Goldie Sox.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe David takes it over with his hot takes over there.
Oh yeah, let's go. Well, that'd be David's dollars.
You're guaranteed third place with David, minimum, with the hairiest chest. So, you never know. Can't doubt it.
Dude, I've seen Christian's chest, dude, and I think it's up there. I think he's hiding it too often.
Whoa!
Right?
A little arrow pointing down. What's going on there, man?
Yeah, you know how it is, man. I got to point down to the good stuff.
Yeah, but
my calves. I have fire calves, baby. Let's go.
But yeah, I think that's going to be it. I don't think you have anything more than that today. So again, thank you all for watching. Again, like I said, we do have some merchandise out in the shop right now. If you do want to get some, we'll put a URL link down in the description below. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a great week.
Yeah, appreciate it,
everybody.
We'll see you later on.
Thanks for y'all coming out.
Later.
Deuces.
Every play like we was the champion. With witty banter and humor, we keep it fun. HTV fam, we always bring the #1. Highlight taking pockets, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, live in the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype, we not just blowing steam. We're known for our hot takes, blazing like fire. Bringing heat to the table, never preaching to the choir. Debating on players, teams, and even strategies. We keep it real, the sugar-coated fallacies. David's on the mic, spinning knowledge of flair. He breaks down the stats with a voice smooth like air. Christian's a funny guy, bringing laughter and joy. He got the jokes unlocked and no one can destroy. Leaves the analyst break down the X's and O's. He sees the game differently like nobody knows. Together, unite, forming a podcast dream team, making waves in the industry, fulfilling their schemes. Highlight taking podcasts, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, living the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype, we not just blowing steam.